the air quite emphatically when the wickets were happening. Have you found a new level sort of to experience these games? Is it dialed up a notch with captain?
Sometimes I think so. Competitive. You want to try and win the game. So, especially this style of game, I think we felt like we were a few short at the halfway stage, but very much in the game if we could take early wickets. And I thought we bowled outstandingly well. So, I thought guys set the tone at the top, and we all followed.
You spoke the other day at the Oval about maybe finding another way when things were getting tough, and just getting to a score. Does it feel like the group, the batting order, learned that lesson today?
I think it was a different style of day, and actually I think the intent we played with as a team is actually what helped us get up to the score. I think that's been something we've tried to do as a team for a long time, is play with a certain level of intensity and positivity when we bat, and I think we'll be better than we can be today, but I think still using that positivity is what actually got us to a score that turned out to be defendable.
Someone like Reece today, he's got those record figures for England players, nicked him off the assistant coach. But it's 7 years since he made his England debut, and he had a bit of a rough ride on the way. How pleased are you that he sort of gets his moment in the sun a bit?
Yeah, delighted for him. He's a very popular member of the team. He brings a lot of energy to the group, and he's had quite an interesting story. Came into the game very early with Essex, and then had obviously those back trouble and stuff. So for him to come back from that and to take 6 for 24 today at Lords is an incredibly special performance.
Okay, we'll go Mel, John, and then Dee.
Thanks. Joss, it's a bit of a big picture question, but we've got all of these white ball bilaterals jammed in together at the moment, which is obviously quite difficult. We've seen in Australia, South Africa series canned in the past couple of days. The World Super League is gone now as well. So I'm just wondering, as now England captain, are bilateral ODI and T20 series still vital? Do you see them as being important? And outside of World Cup events, and why?
Yeah, I was sat in the room when you asked the same question to Rohit. So, yeah, absolutely. And I agree with him a lot, actually. I think they are still very relevant. I agree the scheduling must be better because, you want to see games in international games at the highest intensity, and I think recovery is a big part of that when you're playing back-to-back, and you want to get the best players on the field, the best available team every time, which makes the games more relevant. I think also when the big ICC events are closer together, that makes that tough as well, because that just takes time out of the calendar for when players could rest or when bilateral series are played at full intensity, for example. So I do still think they're very relevant. No doubt the game is changing and evolving, and T20 is still a very young form of the game, really, but it's become probably the biggest part of the game as well. So I think it's certainly an interesting time for cricket, but I do still feel that done properly, bilateral series, and like Rohit's idea of tri-series as well, I think they're actually a really good way of playing international cricket.
John?
Reece, all the setbacks he's had and the worries, I suppose, whether he'd play a game at this level, it's a tribute to his perseverance, I guess.
It is, absolutely, and I think his outlook on life and the game, he's had some really tough experiences not knowing if he was going to play again, and I think that's given him a real sense of perspective in the game, a lot of enjoyment for when he's playing. He's got all the attributes to be a fantastic international bowler, and delighted for him to get those results today.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether you were quite pleased about maybe some of the lessons that your team had already learned from Tuesday in terms of the way you went about your batting, maybe slightly less aggressive, trying to make sure you got a score on the board, maybe not the giant score you wanted, but you still all chipped in. I think 8 out of 11 got into double figures. Is that the sort of thing that at least is a sign you're making progress in a way?
Yeah, well, I actually disagree with you about the other day. I think a lot of the wickets were from defensive shots getting caught behind the wicket, so it doesn't feel like completely aggressive batting to me. So I think that's a difference in the terminology and the way people speak and actually the results that are shown. But I think certainly today, it actually, the positivity we showed with the bat is actually what enabled us to get up to the score that we did. I think we can bat better, absolutely we can still, but instead of sort of playing it safe and allowing the bowlers to just settle in on the length, we actually were proactive and played some positive shots, which I think earned us a few extra runs than potentially we may have got. So I still think we could have got more, but we know that there's a hell of a lot of experience in the batting lineup, and it's a really strong batting lineup, and I have so much trust in whoever's in the middle to make the right call at the time, and that's the whole dressing room will always back those guys.
Pass the mic just in front, Dean. Thank you. And then we'll do two more here.
Josh, to you on your side. What I would like to ask is, how was this wicket actually to bat on according to you? Was it a two-paced wicket, or was the bounce also a bit two-paced, stay low or high? And the total which you had put, you said that you could have done better, but how much confidence you had in your that time around when your team was on 50 for 6 to go up to 2.6?
Yeah, it's always been a real strength of the team is that we have a lot of all-rounders. A lot of our bowlers are very capable batsmen, so that's been a theme for the team that allows us to be more positive because we know we bat deep into our team. And I think we played at Lord's quite a lot, and it's never a brilliant batting wicket, never completely straightforward. And I think probably the same today. I think if you held a length, it was very tough to score. It felt like you could beat the bat and create wickets. So a different style of ODI cricket that sometimes we have seen over the last few years in England when we have played on excellent wickets and it's been high scoring. But Lord's has always got that bit of a feel as well as a batsman. Similar, it felt a bit like the World Cup final wicket. It's not completely straightforward, and that creates interesting games of cricket as well.
One each from the two at the front here.
Yeah. Josh, Kumar this side. Virat Kohli has been one of the most dominant batsmen in the last one decade. When you see someone like him going through such a hard run across the format, as an opposition captain, you must be happy. But purely from a batsman's point of view, who has been an admirer of Virat, what goes to your mind when you see someone like Virat going through such phase?
I suppose in a little way it's quite refreshing for the rest of us that he is human, and he can have a couple of low scores as well, but he's been one of the best players, if not the best player in ODI cricket in the world. So he's been a fantastic player for so many years, and all batsmen, it just proves, go through runs of form where they don't perform as well as they can do sometimes, but certainly as an opposition captain a player of that class is always due, so you're hoping that it doesn't quite come against us.
You have played a lot of cricket in India, especially in IPL. When you see the kind of criticism he is facing, that people are talking about that he should not be part of the T20 international, are you surprised? How do you look at that kind of criticism back in India?
Yeah, incredibly surprised. As I said, I think his record speaks for himself. The matches he's won for India, and why would you question that?
Last one here, please.
Josh, you guys were playing ODIs for first time after February, if I'm not wrong. At Oval, we saw that there was a little bit of in the page, and you mentioned that over here you were like 150 for 6. So, do you think that this long gaps is impacting the batting of your game plan on it?
I think since the World Cup in 2019, the volume of ODI cricket has been as high, and I think maybe just naturally that people are a little bit out of rhythm of that. But cricket depends on what happens on the day, and at the Oval the other day the ball swung and the ball nipped a little bit, and the Indian bowlers exposed that fantastically well. As I said earlier, that it wasn't, in my eyes, really reckless batting. It was fantastic bowling that took the edges, and the catches were taken behind the wicket. It was some fantastic bowling. So today wasn't a completely straightforward wicket either. But I think that's the challenge of, I think we've all become accustomed to some very flat wickets in ODI cricket and seeing batsmen dominate. And this, I think, we've just seen two different styles of cricket due to the pitches we've played on.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I think you guys have played in Netherlands also. I missed that.
Thank you.